All right. Good morning, guys and gals. Um, let's start. All right. So we are going to, as always, start with some music. Let me lower this. All right. Faded it out. And let's start our lesson today. I hope you guys are doing great. Like I said, I know it's hard times, but if you need anything, I'm here for you. And I just want this to be, like routine and inspiring as possible. So I miss all of you, and let's start off. Try to forget what's going on in the outside world and what happened to you today or in the last week. And what I want you to do is just to we're going to do our mindful minute. Feet flat on the floor, back straight, shoulders back. Remember, you want to feel grounded because the world's chaotic, and this is one opportunity to just sit and be grounded. You can stare at the beautiful picture of the tulips if you want to keep your eyes open, or a spot at the ground, and gently close your eyes. And for 1 minute, all we're going to do is pay attention to your body. Let's do 2 minutes. So with your eyes closed, pay attention to how your feet feel. If you want, you can move them, but notice the sensations that your feet have. And as we do this exercise, pay attention to different vibrations, temperature, any physical sensations that you're feeling in your body. So working your way up from your feet, feel both of your calves. Remember that the moment you get lost in a thought or an emotion pops up, try to steer yourself back to your body. Now move on to your knees, then your thighs, work your way up to your butt, sit and know you're sitting, then work your way up to your lower stomach. Notice how your belly and your tummy's feeling. And feel your chest, feel your lungs as you take in each precious breath. Feel your shoulders, any tension or stiffness. Now bring your attention to your fingers, your wrists, sorry about that, your forearms, your elbows, and then the rest of your arms. And then we're going to finish off. Notice your neck, your face, your cheeks, your ears, eyelids, forehead, and then all the way at the top of your head. Rest your attention there for a few seconds. And gently open your eyes. All right, let's do this. Let's do our mantra. I love myself, and because I love myself, I always believe and speak to myself with kind and loving words, because what I think about myself becomes my truth. I'm grateful for this moment, my friends and family, and for waking up another day. And because tomorrow is never guaranteed, I must make use of every single second. Failure is my greatest teacher, but I also know that there's no such thing as perfect, and I'm enough. I'm the author of my life, and I'm creating a masterpiece. All right. So just remember, for quarter 3, March 26th is the last time you can talk to me about grades. That I'd like to hold firm because I'm going to have a lot to grade. But remember, because of the current circumstances, you guys are allowed to revise any journal entries from the year. So please make sure you're doing this. Don't wait till the last second. It's way easier for all of us if you just get it done now. And then remember, the last day for quarter 3 for me, for A day is March 30th, and B day, March 31st. All right, and just be generous with your thoughts. Don't forget this extra credit opportunity, 10 Habits of Healthy People. Just listen to the podcast, answer the questions, and then you could write it out and show me the photo. And then just a quick review of last class and just the unit in general. Basically, it was about time, productivity, vision, values, and trying to live the most productive, efficient life so that you're reaching your goals. And specifically, the last 2 lessons, we focused on time management. So we talked about how it's ironic it takes a lot of time to work on time management, but now is the perfect time to work on that. You want to make sure that you're sticking to a clear vision. You want to be aware of time spent versus the quality of time spent. Being prepared is always super important. Slice and dice each task, right? You don't want to look at it as a giant mountain, but just steps that you got to take. Make a task list, saves you a lot of time. 80-20 rule. Remember, the 20% of tasks usually make the biggest change in your life. You want to create large chunks of time. Single mind each task. Especially now, practice self-care and turn off the damn phone. So like right now with the coronavirus, it's been crazy how many like updates, texts I get from kids, family, and friends. And I've realized it's driving me crazy. So I'm trying to keep it away from me and avoid my distractions. I also remodified my schedule because I don't have work, I don't have structure. So I can send that and share that with you guys too. All right. So here's the moment you guys have all been waiting for. Here we go. Yeah, we gotta pump this up. All right. So, wait for it. Wait for it. Long intro, guys, but I think this is appropriate. Ready? Here it comes. Yes. All right. So. You guys have been begging for this, asking for this. This is the unit that everyone cares about. So I hope you are ready. All right, so this is the first lesson of Introduction to Love and Relationships. And today, human beings will discuss their definition, understanding of love, as well as what topics they would like to explore during this unit. Historically, this has been a really short lesson, but I think I wanted to update it because generally this cuts into another lesson, but I think this is such an important starting point. All right. So in your notebook, take a few minutes. Your very first task for the start of this unit is to answer the following question to the best of your ability and using everything you've experienced thus far in life. What is love? So remember, after each question, I'll pause for a little bit. You can pause the video, and then you could start writing your answer in your notebook. So according to the dictionary, love is an intense feeling of deep affection, a great interest and pleasure in something, person or thing that one loves. This definition definitely does not do the feeling, the state of love enough justice. So we're really going to dive into this. Please make sure to copy this in your notebook. Here's one of, I think like the love unit has the best quotes. So normally like kids will stop me at the start of every lesson and say, hey, can I take a picture of this, Mr. Hugh? So here's one of my favorite. And I think this is like the theme of today and what I really want to make clear to you guys. Because one of the traps that I catch myself in with love is thinking that it's this fairy tale fantasy, and it's not, and that's even better, and I'll explain why. So Marilyn Monroe said, I'm selfish, impatient, and a little insecure. I make mistakes, I'm out of control, and at times hard to handle, but if you can't handle me at my worst, then you sure as hell don't deserve me at my best. So take a few minutes to let that sink in. If you want, you could write your reflection in your notebook. All right. So this is just like an exploratory lesson. And basically, I just want to hear from you guys and see what your thoughts on what are your thoughts on some of these questions, and then I'll talk to you about some of the things that I've realized recently in my own journey for love and relationships. So, full disclaimer, not an expert at this. I've had two serious relationships. They weren't super long, but I learned so much from each of them, and I learned a lot from the people around me. So we're going to talk about that. All right. So here are the 5 questions. Please take time. These are really in-depth questions. I'll read all 5. You can pause and answer them, and then we'll go through them. Okay. So take a few minutes, reflect on the following questions before answering them in detail. Number 1, what does it feel like to love someone? What is loving someone like as opposed to being in love with someone? Actually, let's tweak that first one. I want to add this in. What does it feel like to? What does it feel like to be loved? Let's do that. I'm gonna put that there. Sorry, doing a little revisions on the fly. I think this is a great question. All right. Sorry, I know, giving you more work, but I think this is important. Alright, and let's lower this. 220. Oops, 224. Okay, and I'll switch these to 12. Alright, my bad. I know you guys are giving me crap for this. Okay, sorry about that. So what does it feel like to love someone? What does it feel like to be loved? What is loving someone like as opposed to being in love with someone? Why is reaching happily ever after so hard? So what I mean by that is like, why is it so hard to fall in love with someone, stay in a relationship with someone, and get married, stay in love with them for a long, long time? Why is that so long? So hard. What is the relationship between sex and love? And what do you want to learn and discuss during these upcoming life-changing weeks? All right. So you can pause here, answer those questions, and then I will jump back in with my take. So for me, what does it feel like to love someone? When I fall for someone, I feel like I could. This is what I tell my friends, and even the people I date. Like I would move a mountain for them, right? And it feels like there's a lot of pressure, but it's like a good pressure, where you're just trying to want to make the other person happy, and you almost equate them to your own happiness. It feels and it feels like warm and freeing and light to love someone, especially when you know that they're committed to you and vice versa. So I think it's like really freeing, uplifting, caring, supporting, and we're going to talk about how that changes, right? What does it feel like to be loved someone? The same way, right? I think it's good to receive love. Um, it feels like you're being lifted and supported. It feels warm and life-giving, right? And the more social investment, the more loving relationships you have, the happier you are, right? So I think to be loved is such an important thing about being human. Being in love and loving someone. So I think being in love with someone can be very topsy-turvy. I'm kind of writing another book about love, and it's just like this pendulum where it goes from extremes. It can be hot and cold. It can drive you crazy sometimes, but it is like a very thrilling, exciting moment as well, like feeling. Whereas loving someone, I think, is this like you're gonna hear me mention this in one of the future lessons. I think being in love is like a firework, right? Where it's like very sparkly and bright, but sometimes it doesn't always like last. It just fizzles out. Whereas loving someone is like a long burn, right? Why is reaching happily ever after so hard? So the other question I wanted to add in is like, I think the reason falling in love, or like finding happily ever after so hard is most people don't realize a lot of their relationship problems stem with themselves, right? And that's why this unit, I know you guys all want this unit first, but the first thing that you got to work on is yourself. And I think once you see, we're going to talk about that a lot, what people do that makes loving themselves so hard. And like you're going to hear this cliche over and over again. Like once you love yourself, um, you're going to start to see that's a lot easier to be in a relationship with someone, or be open or ready for that. And so there's other things. I think families, societal norms, gender norms. Also, a lot of it's just timing. Like it's crazy how the way the universe works out, and you fall for someone, and then things work itself out. So, yeah, those are a lot of reasons why it's hard, but it's definitely possible. The relationship between sex and love. I think a lot of gender norms in society make sex this pleasurable thing, but it's a very intimate moment and emotionally connected moment, um, that I think just takes your love further. And finally, this one's really for you guys, but some of the things that I want to know are like, what do I want to learn and discuss is, what do you do to get dating, talking to someone into a really good relationship? What are the paths you take there? What strategies? And then how do you keep that excitement going through the tough times, and how do you work on communication? So those are some questions I'm always thinking about. All right, so take your time, answer those, and I want to introduce you to people. Um, Here are my ultimate teachers around love and relationships. These are my parents. My parents are crazy, but they are crazy in love with each other. They fight and they argue and they drive me crazy sometimes. But the one thing I have never ever doubted in all my life is how much they love each other. Um, I've never ever doubted that, and it's really wonderful to see them be married for, I'm 34, so they're almost married 40 years, and just seeing them at home, they're both retired, and how they care for each other and love each other is like exactly how I want to be for my future wife and family. So, um, minus some of the craziness, but yeah, I think I've been really lucky to have them as my ultimate teachers. And whatever lessons I'm going to share with you some of the lessons that they taught me, and yeah, so we're going to end our lesson with two things, and this goes back to that Marilyn Monroe quote. So I want you to watch this clip from Good Will Hunting. And it's this movie about this young guy, Matt Damon, who's a genius, but he falls in love, but he's also like a troubled kind of guy. And Robin Williams, rest in peace, is his like mentor through life, and it's like his psychologist. And I see a lot of myself in Robin Williams, and when I talk to you guys, and when you guys talk to me. So watch the clip, and then I want you to tell me what resonated with you. So here we go.
Going out again? No, no. Why not? Don't call it. It's an amateur. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry about me. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, but this girl is like beautiful. She's smart. She's fun. She's different from most of the girls I've been with. So call her up on you. Why? So I can realize she's not that smart, that she's fucking boring. You know what I'm gonna do? This girl's like fucking perfect right now. I don't even ruin that. Maybe you're perfect right now. Maybe you don't want to ruin that. But I think that's a super philosophy. That way you can go through your entire life without ever having to really know anybody. wife used to fart when she was nervous. She had all sorts of wonderful abilities. She used to fart in the sleep. So bad she had that ability. One night was so loud it woke the dog up. She woke up and got like, "Oh, is that you?" And she, I didn't have the heart to tell her. Oh, God. She woke herself up again. Oh, Christ. Ah, but look, she's been dead 2 years, and that's the shit I remember. Wonderful stuff, you know? Little things like that happen. Those are the things I miss the most. The little idiosyncrasies that only I know about. That's what measured my life. When she had the goods on me, too, she knew all my little peccadillos. People call these things imperfections, but they're not. Oh, that's the good stuff. And then we get to choose who we let into our weird little worlds. They're not perfect, sport. Let me save you the suspense. This girl we met, she isn't perfect either. But the question is whether or not you're perfect for each other. That's the whole deal. That's what intimacy is all about. Now, you can know everything in the world, sport, but the only way you're finding out that one is by giving it a shot. You certainly want to learn from another fucker like me. Even if I did know, I wouldn't tell a pissant like you.
Why not? You told me every other fucking thing. Jesus Christ. I can talk more than any shrink I ever seen in my life.
I teach this shit. I didn't say I know how to do it.
You ever think about getting remarried?
Oh, that's dead.
Hence the word remarried.
She's dead.
Well, I think that's a super philosophy, Sean. I mean, that way you could actually go through the rest of your life without ever really knowing anybody.
So,
Love that. Sorry for all the cursing and the Boston accent. All right, so there's so much in this clip. It's one of my favorite all-time clips about love. So take a few minutes. What are a few key takeaways about love and relationships that you learned from this clip? What resonated with you the most and why? So you can pause me. For me, I think, like, listening to my parents, it's about those moments that he's talking about where you really, really know someone, and the things that you remember aren't really you do remember the beautiful, wonderful things, but it's like the little idiosyncrasies that that you cherish and that you really understand someone, and that other person lets you. I love that line, "Let you into your world." And notice, like, both of them are talking about being vulnerable, and they're two men realizing that they have to be vulnerable, open up, and take risks, and that's something that, like, to be honest, I'm scared to do sometimes. And then look at what we were talking about. What stops you from being finding your happily ever after? Like when Matt Damon talks about this idea of perfection, right? We chase after these fantasies around love and dating, and we want it to be perfect because we find it so precious, when our mindset should be the opposite, right? We should be looking at someone's imperfections or flaws and seeing them as human. And that's like something for me too. Like I need to have to see people as human, and vice versa, to let people in. So yeah, I just think it's like such a beautiful scene about vulnerability, taking risks, and changing your mindset around love. All right. And then one more, not a clip. I wish I had the clip. It hasn't been posted on YouTube, breaking copyright laws. I just saw this last weekend, Queen and Slim. Really great, awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, see it. Not just about like racial injustice, but also about love and vulnerability. So there's this beautiful moment in the film. You could watch it. You could watch the director's voiceover on YouTube, and there's this moment where they're dancing together in this kind of like bar slash lounge, and the camera just pans around them, and it's like they're the only two people in the room when they're not, right? And that's what the director says. And Slim, the male character, says, "What do you want?" And they don't actually say it, but it's like they're reading their minds. And just a little disclaimer: you can't always assume what your partner is saying. That leads to trouble. But I think it's like you get to know each other at such a deep level that you can almost read each other's thoughts. And Queen says this: "I want a guy to show me myself. I want him to love me so deeply, I'm not afraid to show him how ugly I can be. I want him to show me scars I never knew I had, but I don't want him to make them go away. I want him to hold my hand while I nurse myself, and I want to cherish the bruises they leave behind." So take that in. Kind of gives me chills every time I read that quote. And that's like what I really want in a relationship. Not just, see, it's from her perspective, but it should be from men, women, any partners. So looking back on that quote, what are a few key takeaways about love and relationships that you learned from this interaction between Queen and Slim? What resonated with you the most and why? Feel free to pause. Going back to this, it kind of builds off of the previous one, right? I think in my own dating experience, I tried to put on this mask of like perfection, and I tried to like be the best person I can be, and I'm like this continual self-improvement project. But that's not what it's all about. And I think your partner should see you and connect with you in such a deep way that they expose all the things that you were worried or scared about or had doubts about. But you don't want that. You don't want to rely on your partner to change you or nurse you back, right? Or heal you. And you want them to see you and sit with you there and just comfort you. And I think I love that last line. I want to cherish the bruises they leave behind, because I think, and this is what I'm trying to teach you guys, the hard moments, the moments where you're really tried, the moments of crisis, like right now, that's where you really see love and connection, right? The beautiful moments are beautiful, but it's how you get through those difficult moments that's how you realize what true love and companionship is and connection. All right. I think that was a really good first lesson, if I say so myself. All right, aphorism of the day, tribute to Maury Schwartz, Tuesdays with Maury Professor. This is what I came up with. Open the door, lower the gate, tear down the wall, walk to the entrance of your heart, and let the right person in. That's someone who sees you for you and loves you just like that. Got to take my own advice. And so last two things. In this class, we've discussed what love is and some of the epiphanies Mr. Hugh has learned along the way on his own journey to find and better understand love, especially the realization that you have to be vulnerable, take risks, and really open up to connect with someone. Our next lesson talks about the 6 different types of love and how they all manifest in our lives, making us happier. And as always, please make sure you do the moment of Zen. What did you learn about yourself today? What are some key takeaways? What shifts, breakthrough, or epiphanies did you have? And what do you need to do moving forward? All right. So, like I said, I miss you guys. I think about you. You guys are in my thoughts and prayers. And just please reach out if you need anything. Love you guys, and have an amazing Friday.